and Title I partnerships. So with that, I would like to introduce Carmen Pacheco, Labor Program Specialist for the Adult Pro, i.e. the WIOA Title I Adult Programming, and Caitlin Foster, the Program Specialist for Career Launch. Did I get that right?
Yep.
The Title I Youth Program, as well as Allison Greed, Lead Employment Specialist. So without further ado, I defer to them and how they'd like to facilitate these discussions regarding the partnership referral form.
Thanks, John. I almost said good morning, everyone. Out of habit, I suppose. Good afternoon. It's nice to be here. Lots of familiar faces. Thanks for having us. I'm gonna tee us up here, and then I think Caitlin will share her screen, and we're gonna go through some detailed logistics. But before we get there, wanted to kind of zoom out and just reiterate something that you all already know, is DLR has changed the way that we do business this past year. Out of necessity, and also innovation that is probably long overdue. Just like all of you, our federal budgets stay pretty flat, and the cost of business continues to go up. I know that lots of you here have built relationships with your local job service offices in the past, and in the new way, or in DLR's new era, if you will, we're really pivoting to a statewide model wherever we can. So as opposed to having 12 different job service offices where the individuals who work in those offices do a little bit of everything, we've restructured so that by program, which really allows the employment specialists who work here to develop a deeper expertise and autonomy over their work and the people that they serve by concentrating areas of expertise and kind of grouping like by like. So most job service offices remain open, and what's different is when you walk into them, there might not be somebody who wears all the same hats that they used to wear. It has been a challenge for us to kind of see that into reality, and it's been kind of clunky along the way, as I'm sure some of you maybe have experienced. I'm really proud of the team here at DLR. We've really risen to the challenge, and we're always trying to increase our virtual capabilities and kind of taking that philosophy of meeting our participants wherever they are, in a kind of a more literal way, right? So by increasing virtual access and serving them with staff who have a deeper expertise and understanding of the programs that can assist participants in meeting their workforce goals. So I think part of the implications of the restructure that maybe I joke in-house, it's only kind of funny that the hardest parts of the restructure were parts I wasn't expecting. And I think a surprise maybe is just how many of those local to local relationships existed, and how a lot of our kind of those relationships provided us with really meaningful work to do. And so in recognizing, even a year later, that we need to have a better way to connect. If it's not going to be the same, it has to be something else. And so we've really taken time to develop a mechanism for our Title II partners to connect with Title I adult and youth services, even if it looks different than it did before. So that's kind of what we're going to talk about today. If you have questions, I think please interrupt as we go. Caitlin and I do a shtick here. We have a version of the same PowerPoint that we're using with multiple partners, and really we want this mechanism to be helpful and accessible for you and your staff as we continue to serve participants who need us. Caitlin Foster. Thank you for sharing your screen. Oh, it's me. Okay. I just saw that we do this a million times, but I forgot that I go first. We're going to talk about adults first. So reminder that when your Title I friends are talking about youth and adults, the age that we're looking at for the adult population is 25. So the youth program runs up to 24 years old. And so for anyone 25 and older, we're thinking adult program, okay? I guess I should back up. We're gonna start with the who. So who you're going to refer with this new mechanism. When you're thinking about adults, 25 and older, and a high school dropout. They don't have their secondary education or equivalency. And they have earned at least one green GED ready. This is new. This part's new. Or they're an English language learner. More to come on the English language learner piece. I'm working on policy details through with that. And perhaps I'll be back at a meeting near you when we dive deep into English language learner students. So that 25 and older, high school dropout, one green GED ready, and interested in a work-based learning opportunity. Programmatically, it benefits the adult program if that work-based learning opportunity happens at the same time as GED instruction, but please don't think too hard about that. I'll work out those details. If your person expresses any interest in a work-based learning opportunity, and we'll get to the definition here in a minute, please send them our way. And whether that work-based learning makes sense to kind of kick off mid GED study or not until after that GED credential is earned, we are happy to help connect them with the workforce in a supported way. The prep service delivery model is probably familiar to a lot of you here. Prep is the name we gave to how we co-serve those GED students who need help integrating into the workforce. That was a lot of information in 9 minutes. So I wanna pause for a second, and then I'll kick it over to Caitlin to talk about youth, but we can always circle back should a question come up later. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Now I'm going to talk to you about youth. For the purposes of our program, we're in our partnership, we're really focusing on those that are 18 to 24. The reason that I say 18 is that our federal law really focuses on us connecting with those out of school. It's really hard to consider anybody under 18 out of school because of the compulsory age required to attend high school. So we're really, the who of the youth is we're looking for 18 to 24 and out of school. So that means they're not associated with a high school or they're not registered for post-secondary classes. And they do not possess the diploma or equivalency and has a green GED ready score. So a lot of these are going to overlap with Carmen's. And the last and is they're interested in those DLR services. So the work-based learning opportunity, it can come at any time while they're working with us. We just ask that they have an interest in it. Or the other opportunity they have with the youth program is what we call upskill. And that's post-secondary tuition assistance for programs that are approved for us to spend funding through. So a few different little opportunities here. I'm just going to go over one more time. 18 to 24, not associated with either a high school, so a K-12 system, or registered for post-secondary classes. Do not possess the diploma or equivalency, have one green GED ready test score, and then they're either interested in a work-based learning opportunity or upskill, that post-secondary education, or it could be both. And the biggest change, I would say, when we're thinking about prep with youth, is that there used to be the monthly incentive for attendance hours associated with those that were 24 and under. That incentive is no longer available. We do have other incentives that have replaced that, though. They can still earn an incentive for earning their GED. And then we have some associated with career exploration or completing items that would help them get into the employment area. So those are some opportunities that are available to youth that are a little bit different than adult. Move on to the next slide. One of the other things that we had talked about changing is that we used to have a monthly progress report. And when we first started talking about changing things, we learned that this was administratively burdensome for AEL providers, and that after looking at it through everyone's lenses, that DLR was not contributing as much as on our end. So we really appreciated this feedback when we heard it and wanted to do something with it. So we have a goal of restructuring the form to be less demanding on your guys' time and more informative from our side. We added a DLR information section in there, and we're really asking for less quantitative information from you guys. You guys already have to report that. So maybe just more of the information that doesn't come through in the numbers. When we met with AEL administrators and went over this with the administrators, we thought we were really, really close to this. And we do have a form created. It's just not perfect. It's clunky, to use the word that has come up already. And this has led us to trying to perfect this before we roll it out and have it be another change. So just to give an update on the form, the progress report form, one of our teams, our data team, is working on getting approval from another state agency to get a new platform that should make this form easier and more usable than it currently is. This is a process that they've been going through for a bit, and they're near the final stages, so they should have an answer hopefully soon. And then once we do have access to this new platform, they'll need some time to create and test the form to make sure that it works the way we want it to. But we really want to roll out a product that's going to be better. And right now, I don't think it's quite better. It's different, but it's better.
Nice to meet
So
you.
yeah.
Thank you. This was a real learning curve for me. Admittedly, as a new person, prep was one of the first projects that I worked on here. And the monthly progress report was a piece of that kind of program development that looked good on paper, but the actually didn't function the way maybe any of us intended, especially as our kind of data sharing capabilities increased. I know I've heard from you that form is really burdensome and feels duplicative and already isn't serving the function that we wanted. So like Caitlin said, it was Adobe Sign when, a couple months ago, we were like, let's make this better. We built out that kind of better version in Adobe Sign, brought it to your administrators and got some really good feedback that was like, it's yeah, okay, it's better, but it's not great. And so we went back to the data team and said, hey, there's other pieces here that we want to improve. And as we were trying to make those improvements, they said, listen, I think we're asking too much of Adobe Sign and it doesn't kind of work the way that you want it. Instead of making it kind of better, let's make it actually better, even if it means a bit of a delay on the new version. So just a little bit of why there. I'm excited about the new kind of progress report possibility. I wish we could share it with you today, but I would rather wait and then be able to kind of bring to the table something that we're really proud of, that really reflects the feedback that you've given us these past couple of years, to make it more streamlined. It's more of an information sharing tool as opposed to a data sharing tool. And I'm excited about it. I think you guys we're really pleased to see the final result when we get to that point. I had another thought about progress reports, but I don't anymore. So Caitlin, I don't know what's next, but I'm ready.
So in the meantime, while we're waiting for this new form to be created and the old form is it was there, we could use it. But in the meantime, what we're asking our team is just to suspend those monthly progress reports that we initiated. So then it's not as much asking and not as much sharing as we would like to do. And then once we have the new form, then we can roll forward with that. With the changes that we've made, especially to the youth program, like it's not absolutely necessary that we have these monthly progress reports in the form that we've had them in the past. So that's what our plan is right now, is just to hold off until we have the better version. I don't know if there's any feedback or input from anybody out there that feels strongly another way. And then here is going to be my little plug. Allison, you want to jump in?
I just wanted to say that, like, that said, that like Caitlin said, though, that conversation hasn't stopped. Like, as our employment specialists are identifying concerns or questions about their clients, they will come to me and they'll say, what do I do? And I've certainly been encouraging them to talk to you. I saw Carla Stephenson, excuse me. I'm looking at Carmen when I say that. I saw Carla's on this phone call, and I know a couple of our ESs were worried about a couple of their clients, and I shared Carla's info with them so that they could get in touch with her while these aren't happening, and they've been talking back and forth too. So if you do have somebody that you identify and you say, gosh, I really would like to check in with their specialist or something, and I don't know who it is, or like if you do know who it is, by all means reach out, talk to them, or let me know, or let the administrator know, like, hey, I need to talk to somebody about this student, and we're not doing progress reports, so I need to figure out who that is. So
I remember
And
that.
is serving as our GED point of contact. So she's kind of where we go for our side with questions on either questions for vouchers that we can offer or case management. And so if you guys get to the point where you want to contact DLR and you're not quite sure who it is, and digging through your emails just is a lot, reaching out to Allison is a great step, because she's going to be able to say, thank you for the information. I'm going to get it over to the employment specialist and get you connected back.
I remember what I was going to say. I mentioned earlier, prep was one of the first initiatives I've worked on here at DLR, and our programs looked a little different at the time, and we had the kind of support service element, but I really do think the maybe most powerful result of that service delivery model was the collaboration that it fostered between Titles 1 and 2, that kind of communication and collaborative approach to serving the same individual, somewhere where we as in DLR had historically not done great, but I'm really proud of how prep kind of brought us to a place to collaborate with our Title II partners in service of our GED seeker students. So even though the progress reports are currently on hold, I'm excited about the new ones. I think Allison serves such an essential role in the post restructure, because where previously maybe Carla would just call Lisa or Scott and say, hey, I'm working with this student, can you help connect me to their employment specialist because there's something came up. In a statewide model, we don't have that same kind of local to local reliability. Maybe you're serving a student whose employment specialist lives on a different side of the state. Allison really serves as that conduit. So you don't have to go making 14 phone calls to find the Department of Labor office that employs the employment specialist who's serving your person. You can call Allison and she'll do that legwork for you, and we can still kind of work collaboratively to address whatever has come up for that individual student.
Now we're getting to the demonstration portion of today. The referral form has been out there. I'm not sure how long at this point. It is available as a private web link that is intended for AEL staff to complete to refer to DLR. Once that form is completed and there's a screen that says, your referral has been submitted, it goes to team managers who then connect them with the assign an employment specialist to connect with your referral. And we're asking that employment specialist contact the referrals within 2 business days. Before we get to the live demonstration, it's been out there for a minute and we have had it used. Carla has used it several times for the youth program, and she's helped us work through the process, which I appreciate. Having people use it and then having us learn how to use it in return once it's to us has been a process, and Carla's been great with working through it with us. So we really appreciate that you have been out there and using it. So I don't know if anybody has feedback or anything on if they've had any involvement with the progress report yet or not, but while I figure
This
out how to share
Carla.
it, pull up my page. Oh, go ahead.
I just want to add something in there. First of all, I think the referral form is very easy to complete. It doesn't take much time. And my experience so far now, within a day or two, I've had an email that has said, okay, this is who's going to be working with your student. And, in no time they have appointments made, and it's just worked really easy. And worked really well. I think all the students I have referred have had contact right away with the Department of Labor. And the biggest issue that we have is the students not having access to computer or internet or whatever, but they just come here and do it. So yeah, no, it's worked really good. I appreciate how the Department of Labor has helped, especially here with the Department of Labor closing and all that. It's been really good to have you guys. The process has been really easy for us, I think, really good.
Man, we love positive feedback. Thank you for sharing that. But as more of you start to use the form, positive feedback is not the only feedback we're open to. If you're using it and you get stuck somewhere, or consistently you find that this definition or question is not clear enough, or you suggest a different phrase or a different arrangement of the questions, please let us know. We want to know that, and we want to make the form as usable for our partners as possible. So should you have feedback of any kind, please connect with us. We want to know that.
This takes me a minute to navigate in Chrome, so thank you for giving me a few minutes, and thank you for sharing that, Carla. I really appreciate it.
As Caitlin pulls up the form, I'll reiterate that it is accessible via private web link. This was largely in part to feedback that we've received from our partners that, having a referral form housed on SharePoint presented certain logistical administrative problems for everybody. We certainly don't want that to be true, and kind of the maintenance of the form shouldn't be so burdensome than the use of the form. So we are hosting it not on SharePoint. It is on the web. It is a private link though, and you'll see as Caitlin kind of goes through it here, it is meant for our partners to complete. If you share the link with the public or your students or your friend at the grocery store because they said that they lost their job and want to connect with DLR, the form will not make sense for them. This is really, the link is meant for you to complete on behalf of your GED seeker.
Okay, first question, is this large enough?
I think it's good, Caitlin. Thank you.
Yeah, I can see it.
Perfect, thank you. So the form has a few questions, but really it's to let us know first what who your referral is. So this first page is really about your referral. So first name, I'm using some information in here because this is live. So as soon as I hit submit, it's going to create that that process that I said is going to go to managers and going to go out for assignment. So I'm making sure everybody knows that this is a test. If you guys are testing it, that would be great for us to know, is like test in some form in the name and things like that. But if you, it's out there for you guys to use and dig into if you have the time and interest. So customer information, we're asking for first name, last name. Date of birth is really just to help us narrow down in the system. So there might be, I doubt there's 4 demonstration testings out there, but if there are, this lets us know that yes, this person's in our system. It doesn't separate it into 18 to 24 and 25 and above. This is just identifying information for us. Your referral's phone number, so how we would connect with them if they have one, email address as well. We also have heard from other partners that, you know, it might not, they might have one or the other. So if you're making a referral, and they don't have an email address, but they have a phone number, if you put your email address there, that's fine, and vice versa. And then the next question lets us know, like, oh, they don't have a phone number, you're gonna connect with them through email. So asking how your referral would be preferred to be contacted. You can check multiple here, so then we can know that a phone call is going to be the best way to get a hold of, or whatever that might be. Next question has to do with military involvement, because this form is used by more than just our 2 teams. So if they've had any military involvement for themselves or their spouse, you can answer that as yes, and that would get them connected to even more resources. For the purposes of today, we were going to go through the 18 and 25 plus, 18 to 25 and plus, 18 to 24 and 25 and plus options. We'll start with the adult questions. So anybody 25 and older, you would select that to get to the adult questions. The second page is asking for your information. So the person completing this referral form. So today that is me. This is so if we can't get a hold of your the person that you've referred, then our request of our employment specialist is to circle back to the person that made that referral and said, hey, we can't get a hold of demonstration. We've tried for a few days. Are you still in contact with them? Can you help us facilitate this? Because we do want to reach out to them. So asking for your name, your email address, your phone number, and then we do use this form for quite a few different types of referrals. So our internal DLR staff use it, but today we're an external, because you guys are outside of our internal DLR staff. So we have a few options, and the one here for you guys is Title II AEL provider. And then it lets us know with which Title II provider you work with. I grabbed the top one, but everybody should be represented. If you're not, please let us know. And then we're going to hit next. And this is going to bring us to the questions that were on the PowerPoint. So letting us know, we've already asked the age. So this question is, I'm referring to somebody who is currently attending GED instruction. So if that's a yes, it's going to drop you down to the next question. Has the individual scored a green on the at least one GED ready? A yes will get you to the next question. And then that's where this work-based learning opportunity comes into play. And that gives you the definition there. A work-based learning opportunity is a short-term employment opportunity for participants to gain skills and work references. And DLR assists financially with that. There is the option to do it now or later. As Carmen had mentioned earlier, this is not a question that if you answer upon completion of their GED studies, it's not something we're going to hold you to. It's not anything that we want you to worry about. And we might even be thinking about changing this to just a yes or no. I don't know if you want to add anything here, Carmen.
I will add, thank you, Caitlin, that it is, I describe this form as dynamic. The questions as we move through kind of rely on the question before it. And here, number 17, that subtext and the italicized subtext is plain language. We use subtext like this with other partners too, and the subtext is really designed to be asked to the participant. So if you've got a part-time staff who's working with GED students, they don't have to know all the details about what a work-based learning is. They can read the question to their person, and if that individual indicates, yes, that sounds great, proceed with the form. Like Caitlin said, we are considering moving this to a yes, no, because really, once this referral is over with the employment specialist, is that employment specialist and the participant who are going to come up with a plan of when to take what action next. And while the adult program especially, I'm programmatically incentivized to engage participants in a work-based learning at the same time as our GED studies. There's really, we're not going to do that for a person if it's the wrong choice for the person, and the individual and their employment specialist will determine that. So if they express interest, just select one of them. That sounds most correct right now, and then we'll take it from there. With number 18, if there's additional information or context that you want to share about your referral, put it in here. We want to know, you know, relevant, you know, this person works from 8 to 4. They're not gonna be able to answer your phone call during those hours. This person has very limited tech access or virtual skills, digital skills. Please plan to integrate that information into how you are serving them. Whatever you want to share with us on the front end, that's going to help, especially make that first connection more successful. 18 here is where to do that. Caitlin, do you mind if am I good? I want to talk about the submission button.
Yeah.
Can we submit this one because it is a test, or do we want to just like pretend?
We can submit this one, and then we can submit it now and everybody watches me retype, or we can go over the 18.
Okay, we'll submit later, but I
questions.
just want you to
Okay.
like, why don't you hit, because I want to show what happens if none of the things are true.
Okay.
So if you
So,
no on question 15, or yeah, select no there. And select no there. So if neither one of these is true for your staff or for your participant, if you hit next, you're going to land at a stop here. I wish the stop here could be like in size 72 font, okay? Unfortunately, the format's limited, but the red stop here tells you that this referral hasn't gone anywhere. So I think Caitlin's gonna circle back to this in a minute, but when you see the stop here, that is different than the submit. So if you go back, Caitlin, let's pretend that we've got a GED seeker, 1 green ready, and then interested in work-based learning. When you hit submit, that's when the referral lands with a job service manager at DLR. And then within 2 days, an employment specialist will be reaching out to that individual. So it's submit, referral is with DLR. Stop here, referral is not.
and we will go over that in just a minute. I just am not great at typing in front of people. So we're gonna go over the 18 to 24 questions. They're gonna be very, very similar, just have a few ones about education specifically. So if you choose 18 to 24, you're gonna get the same page where you enter your information as the person making the referral. Again, select Title II AEL provider. And then these questions really start with the education portion, because we're really trying to focus on building those out of school, our out of school youth population. So is your person, and this is how they're eligible for our funding. So is your referral considered a high school dropout and not attending any school? So that includes high school and post-secondary classes for us. If that's a yes, you're going to get this next question, asking if they're currently attending for GED instruction. So are they currently working with you? We've got a yes here. GED green on the GED ready again, yes. And then it asks the question of work-based learning again. If we hit neither, you can get the option of post-secondary, and if that's a yes, it's going to get you back to giving us more information. If you have somebody that's interested in a work-based learning opportunity and post-secondary, you don't need to answer, we just need to answer one of these as yes to get it to the point of submitting. But if you only answer this one as yes, it's the post-secondary tuition assistance will still be talked about and still be offered. The form just has only so many functions we can do. And then any information here that you want to provide is helpful. You don't have to put anything here. And again, if there's a no along the way, so if your individual they might be currently working with a K-12 system and they're thinking about coming over. If they're still working with a K-12 system, that would be how we would consider attending school. And then that would get you to the stop here button. So some of these questions along the way, if there are no, it's going to get you over to the stop here. But if it's all yes, and you have that submit, we'll hit submit now, and you'll get this. Why did it come back here? Sorry, hang on.
While she's on her way back to the submission screen, I was reviewing the form with another partner earlier this week, and they asked a really good question. They said, well, if we know the answer is no, why would we fill it out? And first, what you're seeing on Caitlin's screen here, after you hit submit, you're gonna get the check mark. The check mark tells you that that referral is over with DLR and that an employment specialist is being assigned. But the partner's question is, if we know the answer is no, why would we fill out the form? And my answer is, you don't have to. You don't have to fill out the form. If you know the answer is no, don't do the form for the form's sake. And we wanted this to be really usable for someone who hasn't sat through 64 minutes of context about the form. So if you have a part-time person who's working with students and maybe they can't remember when do I send someone to DLR? I don't know. The form is really meant to be helpful for them too. So if they're not sure, they can rely on the form. If you know this person has a job that they love that has growth potential and they're not interested, you don't have to fill out the form. But if you've got someone who's new or you can't quite remember, the form is built to kind of route people accordingly without a lot of context that they need to bring to it.
And yeah, so once you get this message, you know a referral has been submitted. It's sitting with managers. It will get assigned out to employment specialists, and that's why we're asking here for your information. If we're unable to contact with your referral directly, we're going to circle back to you. So we're hoping that there's some kind of resolution that you guys know, yep, it's been taken care of. That's what our goal is. So then you know that it's ready. I'm gonna go
Can I ask a
over.
question?
Yep.
Yeah, go ahead.
Back to that, I didn't see where you pulled down the strategic form. Was it in the box that said find a form?
So that is gonna be a link that we're gonna share directly with
Oh, okay,
you guys.
okay.
Yep, so you won't be able to navigate it from our regular website. It's something that we send to you and give you guys direct access to. Good question.
Which brings me to, and Kim, I saw you unmuted if you have a question, but after we meet today, we've got documents to send over to Kim. We'll send a copy of the PowerPoint. We also have a one pager. I hope you haven't been frequently taking notes because we do have one page that bullets all the information that we just reviewed, and it includes the link to the form.
And all that information will then be housed on our website where we house our recordings of our presentations. My question is, this is a GED person, but what if they're ESL? Which is, 500 of the people I serve.
Yeah, I'm working diligently to get that ELL option built out. Kim, I'll probably try and connect with you right after the holidays as I try and close some policy loops there. Because we do want to have an option for our English language learners to be directly connected with Title I services. So stay tuned. I want to build it out in a way that is reflective of what your students need. And I'll need your help to do it as I finish up bringing that to fruition.
Well, and to be super honest, I would say Becky can probably tell me the exact amount. The majority of, by far, of our students work, and we sure are not going to upset our employers by encouraging them to go for other
No.
jobs.
No. And this is true for GED seekers or English language learners. If they don't want to work with DLR, if they don't have a workforce need, I've often said I'm not in the business of twisting arms. Like we want to serve the folks who have the goals that align with our program. And we want to be, you know, as strategic as possible in allocating programmatic resources and kind of building the structure around program delivery that makes the most sense most of the time. So I certainly don't want to upset a lot of employers either. I want to serve the participants who need us. So stay tuned for more on English language learners.
And Kim, I think you bring up a really great point, and I'm gonna expand on that a little bit. When we say work-based learning, like I understand most individuals need to pay rent and eat. So a lot of people aren't coming to you saying, you know, they might already have a job and be employed. And so if they are you know, if they're 18 to 24 and they have a job that's working with their GED schedule right now and they're earning enough and they're doing great, that's great. But if that same individual wants to get their GED because they want to like go on to a different occupation or try to reach for something different, they can continue to work that job that they already have, but they can work with us as well. Just thinking of somebody that might be, you know, I'm going to pull from somebody here that was in Rapid City. They were working as a manager at a local restaurant and making good money, but they wanted to get their GED so that they could go into, I want to say, paramedics. And so he continued to work his job and did all of that while he was earning his GED, but he was connected with us as well because he had that interest to do something different. So if somebody's happy in the position that they're in now and they don't want to make that change, like I understand that referral not happening, but if we have the opportunity to help somebody reach that employment goal that's connected to that GED or after, that's what we're kind of looking for here too. That's why we're trying to keep everything open as much as we can. We're not trying to put a timeline on anything. And it just gives us a chance to talk to somebody and see how we could work together.
I think what's often true is that if somebody's immediate need is getting a job, they're starting with us and not you, right? Like they start on our end to help getting to work in the first place. I think a lot of you probably know I'm a GED earner, and when I was earning my GED, I had bills to pay, and I certainly could not have taken on a different job at that time. But I was a GED earner who wanted to do something different once I got that GED. And I think, Kim, I think your question really highlights something that DLR maybe hasn't done great in the past. And our data shows that. The impetus for prep in the first place was a hard look at the data that told us that our co-enrolled participants were less likely to get their GED because they would walk into the labor office and we'd get them a job. And the data just showed it so clearly. Their hours at work would go up and their GED hours would go down. And something like we're not proud of that. We want that to be different and be more cognizant of helping our participants and your students play the long game. So we want to do that better than we have in the past.
And I think more recently, at least from since I've been sitting in this chair, like we've done a good job at like, okay, we're gonna get you the GED, but then we kind of just fall off after the GED. So that's what I would like to see in my mind is not only help earn that GED, but if there's something else after it, like please please, let's not stop there, so. Okay, I think we just have a few more slides. So this one really covers the stop here page. So, when you kind of get outside of those referral, the who's that we talked about earlier, it doesn't mean like DLR still has services for those that aren't getting connected directly to the adult or youth program. We still have a whole group of people that work with individuals to job search, resume assistance, mock interview, things like that. So once that stop comes up, that's saying that there's not a direct referral happening, but that doesn't mean that DLR isn't still an option. So when that page comes up, the best thing that I would say if somebody still needs help from DLR is to connect them with job service offices. And we do have virtual appointments. So if there's a location that's not represented by Department of Labor, we can get somebody virtually connected with them to help them get those basic needs met. And then we also have our DLR Workforce Services online. So if somebody isn't quite interested in working with an employment specialist directly, we do have resources available. Some to highlight is Big Interview. That's something that's a program that individuals can work on their interview skills and build resumes virtually. We have our virtual hiring events. So if you can't get into the office, that you can get connected to the virtual hiring events. And then we also have workshop classes. So that covers soft skills. We have quite a few budgeting options as well. I think there's even an insurance 101 class. So if that is more in line with what your individuals are, your students are looking for, they can connect with a person through Department of Labor, or they can connect to our online services.
I wanted to say one thing here because I think earlier it was mentioned that tech access, Wi-Fi access devices can be a barrier, can be a limitation for your students. And we notice that with our participants too. And while we have aspirations to increase access to devices and investing in kind of more accessible internet, I want to say that for your person who needs to meet with the DLR staff on that employment services team to help with connecting with job opportunities, if they have a job service office near them, we have tech at our place. So they can come into our office, the workshops Caitlin mentioned, the virtual kind of DLR online. If they don't have a device in their hand or at their house, they can come to the labor office, and we've got Chromebooks galore. We've got Chromebooks, we've got laptops. They don't have to meet with a person in person to access those. We can help set them up with access to the device and the internet to connect with the resources they need. And it doesn't have to be the labor office. Maybe it's a library. Maybe it's the senior center in the town that's closest to them. If they can be at a place with internet and a device, it could be our place, your place, the library, wherever. We want to make sure that they have access to the support they need. It's not perfect, but we do recognize that as a barrier, and we've got some strategies in place to assist with that now, and then some aspirations to kind of build out that support down the road too.
Okay, I think this is our last slide. Thank you again for your time today and the efforts that you've already put into using the forum and the feedback that we've already gotten. It's all really appreciated and all really helpful. And we want it to continue. So we want you guys to know that program staff, which includes Carmen, myself, Allison, and our team staff. So those local people that you might know the names and faces of. We're happy to come to AEL providers and visit in person if that works in with your schedule. We'd like to continue these conversations to fine tune the process for both of our organizations and help our students be successful. Right now, we are leaving the floor kind of open for you guys. We're given some dates. We'd like to travel between January 13th and February 14th. So if you're interested in that option of some face-to-face time to go over any of this information, it could be forms, services, or partnership, any ideas you guys might have. You can send an email to Carmen and myself letting us know that you'd like that in-person visit, and provide some options for dates and times that work for you and your staff and whoever you would like included in that face-to-face. And we will do the best that we can to work around your schedules to connect with as much staff as possible. So if you've got evening staff or anything like that, let us know, and we'll be as accommodating as we can, because it takes communication and continued work to make this work. So
I think we're an optimistic bunch here at DLR, but not so much that we anticipate that one 60-minute presentation is going to kind of be the thing that all of a sudden we're going to have kind of a robust referral mechanism. And you guys have all the questions. You know, this is an ongoing conversation, and we're happy to come to you if there is a need. But Caitlin and I joke with each other that it can feel a little bit like inviting ourselves to someone else's Thanksgiving dinner. Please do not feel obligated to invite us to a meeting to talk. If you don't have the need, we are certainly not offended. But if you've got part-time staff, or you really think, oh, we've got a certain demographic of people who could really benefit, I want to make sure that I understand, I need the support. We're happy to come. You're not obligated to invite us. I don't call it a road show because I've been told not to call it that, but we are happy to do some travel and meet with you in person. Questions, comments, concerns? We'll get you the PowerPoint, we'll get you the one pager. The one pager has the link to the form. Doubling down, please do not share the link with your participants or with your friends at the grocery store who just got laid off. It will not make sense to them. And as you kind of work through it, even if you don't invite us to your Thanksgiving dinner, if you notice the form could be better, or you have specific questions, we want to hear that.
Thank you, ladies, for joining us today. Does anybody have any questions? I just have a couple announcements. Just remember, we won't have a January T3 because we do have Winter Summit, and all of the information about Winter Summit is on the website that we shared in the chat right at the beginning. So if you scroll up to the top, you'll find that link. And very excited to have people join us for Winter Summit. I think it's going to be an amazing opportunity for some great training. So I hope you've scheduled appropriately for what's just around the corner. John, did you have anything else?
Sorry, I got a kid at school drop off. Sorry. I other than to thank everyone for, their time, my colleagues for sharing this information and their willingness to visit, unpack this, delve the partnerships, the processes, the overlap, and the co-enrollment possibilities. So I think once other providers get a chance to make that first enrollment, have familiarity with the form, we'll begin to see more operationalized questions and can build on some of that momentum. So happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays.